Well, hello, and welcome to another edition of White Sox Daily Live, not five, live. My name is Ian Eskridge. I am here with D. Danny Miller. How you doing, Danny?
Hanging in there, man. If you remember last time we recorded, I was having some issues. Those seem to have cleared up. Had a decent holiday weekend. Put on a nice fireworks show for my community. Everyone seemed to enjoy, and yeah, just trying to enjoy some time off before heading back to work. What you got there? You got the old slurber derp.
Slurpee. Yeah.
Yeah.
After me and the
So
boy go to the cage or the field, and I either pitch to him or hit to him, we stop and get a Slurpee on the way home. So
yeah.
yeah, so we went out to the cage, and I threw to him for a while and had him hit off the tee and use his Ellie De La Cruz blast motion sensor to capture some swings and stuff. And yeah, took some batting practice in the cage. I had him throw to me a little bit.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it was great. Baseball season just ended. Our last tournament was last weekend, and we won our last game, and then, well, we won a game, and then the final day of the tournament got rained out
Oh
because of
no.
the rain over the weekend. So unfortunately, the end of the tournament got canceled. So that was a bummer. But yeah, they've won
Yeah.
a game. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, I think they've won a game since the White Sox have won.
It's probably right.
What's up, Grimtall? How
Ye-
you doing?
Good evening, Grimtall. How are you, man?
Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, we're hoping that the White Sox can avoid a sweep here tonight from the Blue Jays. They finally managed to score runs, so that was nice. I mean, they waited until extras to score in the last game, and now they're looking like they're trying to give up this lead here, up 3-2 in the top of the fourth. We'll see how this goes. I'm not entirely hopeful. How are you feeling about this? You thinking we're
Uh,
getting swept here?
you know, if the last week or so of baseball here is any indication, I'm gonna go with yeah. You and I talked a little bit just before we started the stream here, and I was saying, as you said, the easy part of the schedule, but there was starting with the Oakland series, there was a 9 game stretch where a lot of folks thought they should win, at least 6 of the next 9. Yeah, and it's not looking like they're gonna win 4 or maybe even 3
Yeah.
of that 9. So
Yeah.
I mean they
Yeah.
are pretty terrible, which has really got the deadline rumors and the armchair GMs kind of spinning their wheels and trying to figure out what would be the best move for the White Sox. But yeah, man, watching this right now, especially after the first game, where we've got a total of 3 hits in 10 innings of baseball between both teams, and then the Sox just get Aaron Bummered with the
Mm.
dinks and dunks and the like 3 or 4 infield hits it was there. I mean, that guy gives up so much soft contact,
It's
and it
ridiculous.
just seems to find a way through or
Every
in a
time.
spot where you can't make a play. Even if it doesn't get out of the infield, it's just a little roller that's so slow that, you know, a Jake Berger can't make a throw, or, Zach Remillard or whoever is in the field can't even charge to get a play. And it was just typical bummer inning. So
Yeah, it was a
man,
bummer.
it really was. It's difficult to think that this team was thought to be the best in the AL Central at some point in the last couple of years. Because it's basically the same team. Some people thought they might have even improved a little this year, and here we are sitting at 14 under and looking at 15 under
Insane.
500 right now. So
I
yeah,
mean,
good stuff,
it's
man.
just insane, man. Pusher says, "Hey guys, what happened to the Sox this year?" I mean, where do we start?
Yeah, I mean, and your guess is as good as mine as to how they straighten it out or fix it because
Yeah.
like I said, on paper, it looks like they got way too much talent to be 14 games under 500. So
Yeah, I mean, on paper, it looks like they shouldn't be anywhere near 500.
no,
But as Grimtall pointed out to me via text earlier, he said the worst player on the Dodgers is having a better season than TA. So, as
worse.
TA goes, so do the White Sox. So I keep hearing. So as TA is not going, neither are the White Sox, apparently.
No, they sure aren't.
Yeah. So on the good news front, because there's not a whole lot of good stuff to really talk about with the actual parent club of the of the organization, the White Sox. But Luis Robert named to the All-Star team, and he will be in the home run derby. 25 home runs, 49 RBIs before today. So I think he's got 50. He got one earlier, right? Yeah, he had that.
I think he's still at. I thought he was at 48. He's at 49 now. Or no, maybe he's at 49 after that
I thought it
11th
was.
inning.
I thought it was 49 before that, but
Yeah,
whatever.
You could be right.
Yeah, it doesn't matter one way or the other. He's at a 148 WRC plus. So, if you're looking for something positive out of the White Sox, you can look at Luis Robert. And I know that this is not a this is not exactly something that White Sox fans want to hear, but you can also look at Zach Remillard. He's been playing really well, for somebody that when he was brought up, I knew what the White Sox were getting to a point. I mean, obviously, I hadn't seen him in the major leagues yet, so I didn't 100% know how it would translate. But I knew that he was a player that did all the little things, and he's a team player. And he's showing exactly that, He's not going to go out and hit, 30 home runs. But that's okay. He goes out and he has professional at-bats, and he does little things well. So that's nice.
Yeah, who would have thought? I mean, like you said, watching him kind of grow and develop in the minors, and I mean, the guy just at every level kind of does the same thing. Every time he moves up a level, he's a gamer.
Yep.
And he continued to do what Zach Remillard does when he got called up to the MLB club. So good on him. We kind of make it a little tongue in cheek thing about him being my cat player on MLB The Show, his first close personal friend. But yeah, I've just always been a fan of Zaggy Flat, and really just happy to see him get a chance to show out. And whether or not he's part of this White Sox team and organization for an extended period of time, I think he's kind of shown enough to make himself a regular at the MLB level, even if it's with a different organization here in the next, coming times.
I could see, like the thing is that he is, he's a good utility player, and he is exactly the kind of guy that you want to have as a utility player. I mean, the one thing I would say that, me and Grimtall were talking about the TA thing beforehand. Chris Taylor, he is like pretty much the prototypical guy. You can slot him in anywhere. The thing that he has over, like, say, a Zach Remillard is that he's got more power. And that's the one thing that I would say that I would wish that Zach Remillard had was a little bit more power. But, like I said, he does all the little things, and he does them all very well. So, of course, he doesn't get on here, but you know, whatever. And as Grimtall mentions, he's got that baseball face. He does have a baseball face.
He does. He does. Got to get a picture of his girlfriend over here so we can, make sure that we give Zach the full scouting report.
Yeah, I don't. We're gonna go full Moneyball on him, and
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm guessing with the way he jumps from level to level and continues to produce every time he jumps, he's got that confidence. So I'm guessing hot girlfriend.
entirely possible. World
Moneyball.
Series champion, College World Series champion, Zach Remillard, with the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. Yeah. So I mean, there are some positive things. Eloy's looked halfway decent. Not exactly. The power hasn't been ridiculous. I mean, we did see a home run earlier, but
Yeah, it was a little bit of a wall scraper, but he went oppo off the end of the bat and gave the Sox a 3-1 lead.
yeah, you
So
take that. So
yeah, but he definitely looks a little more confident in the box lately. Swinging it pretty well, extending some at bats, which you always like to see guys do. I don't. This Sox team has had a tendency all season long to do these 3 and 4 pitch at bats where they look at the one right down Main Street, the one that they should have been swinging at, and then they go hacking at some garbage that's outside the zone, and before you know it, they're sitting down. They're back over there getting splinters because they can't stay off the bench long enough to not get those splinters. So tough watch for a lot of these guys, but and like you said, going back to the Lewis Robert thing, we really have seen an outburst from him lately. He has been the one lone, bright spot, but man, is he a lot of fun to watch here the last few weeks. I mean, that guy has just got some really raw power, and when he sees the ball well, it goes hit ball hard, see ball go far.
mm,
It's been awesome, and I'd like to really enjoy watching him in the home run derby. I'd like to see him, at least go far, give us something exciting to talk about. But it was mentioned in our little White Sox Daily chat, our little side chat between us, and I think it was Logan, our very own Logan Hard, who brought up the fact that he might go up there and screw up his entire swing for the second half, trying to hit bombs at the All Star game. But you know, at this point, I don't really care. Honestly, I don't care because he's only going to be padding stats for himself. It's not like this team's going to, win anything or go
yeah,
anywhere.
I
So
mean, but my main point is that I would like to see him play for an entire year and produce for an entire season. That's my
you
that's
know,
my main issue with that is that if
I'm
it
being facetious,
no, yeah, I
obviously.
know, but if there is, we've seen it many times where somebody goes out and does the home run derby, and then after that they go into a downward spiral for the rest of the season and can't hit, and their average
Right.
just drops, below 200, for like the second half of the season, and that's like obviously that's something that the White Sox. I mean, I don't think the fan base could endure something like that. I mean, that would just be brutal to watch.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
and
it's already
Grunthal brings
terrible.
up Grunthal brings up in the chat that he makes a really good point. In 2002, Canerco on the home run derby screwed up 2003 Canerco's entire season. So, again, I was being mostly facetious in that sense of, I don't really want to see him screw up his swing, but it is entirely possible that it happens. But at
It
the
sure
same
is.
time, I do want to see him find some success in that home run derby. The last thing you want to do is be like the guy who's one and done, first round out with the lowest total. He goes
Yeah,
out there and he hits like 4 in the first round. He gets
yeah.
smoked by like 15, dingers. So, at least I hope that he puts up a decent showing and doesn't embarrass himself out there. How's that? That better?
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm just hoping that he doesn't do one of those, like 70 home runs in, an hour type deals, and then comes back and, his body's just completely fatigued and he can't hit for the next 2 months.
Yeah, he's roasted. Yeah, right, exactly.
That's what I'm hoping that we can avoid here, because we've realistically got, like, on offense, we've got very few things to be happy about. So, like, at least let us enjoy that a little bit,
Yeah, they're already pretty close to completely unwatchable, so let's not take away the last thing.
Exactly. So brutal, man.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about is, just something that is just, a constant so far this season. And, like, I don't want to spend too long on this, just because we've talked about it so many times. But before today, Tim Anderson's last 10 games, 7 for 42 with 6 singles and a triple, 14 strikeouts against 2 walks, and a 5 WRC plus.
It's a 33% strikeout rate, by the way.
And I'm actually, TBH, I'm actually shocked that it's that low. Because
well, that's true.
Every time, I mean, like, I feel like every time I've been watching him in the last week, he strikes out. I like that game in Oakland where he struck out 4 times, and at the end of the game, and when he struck out, and I think the ninth or whatever, he threw his bat. It's just, I don't even. Obviously, the guy is in, like, a, at least, he's looked better the last couple of days. I will say, he did have, like, a couple of multi-hit games in a row. So there is that. But, like, just the mental space that he looked like he was in, didn't look like it was conducive to him being, productive in any shape or manner.
Right. Yeah, I have to agree, but I'm kind of hoping that this little bit of a turnaround that we're seeing the last few days here for him is the igniter that he needs to kind of get back on a roll and get back on track. Maybe his health is finally starting to come around a little bit. I know. I think it was you. I saw post one of his most recent little quotes about him taking a break, and I'm guessing that was from the socials, and now he's back.
Oh, I didn't post that, but his Instagram thing where he said he had to
like, take a step back to see who was still riding with him or
whatever
it was.
Okay, dude,
something
whatever,
along those
man.
lines. I really don't get it. I don't know. Like, we're talking about a guy who doesn't really respond to anything on Instagram or Twitter, per se. He throws out a cryptic, something or other out there on his socials, and he doesn't really respond to any of it. And I don't understand what that means. Like, I had to see who's with me and who's not, type of thing. Okay, dude, I don't know what you're getting at, but whatever. You do what you got to do to keep your head in the game, because, like you said, lately things seem to be looking at least a little bit better. And if we get 2019, 2020 Timmy in the second half, maybe we'll get a little bit more excitement out of this team.
Grimtall brings up a good point, and this is something I had thought about as well. And he says he wonders if his teammates are down on him too. Could have been some passive-aggressive BS aimed at his teammates. And, I had thought about that as well, because, at a certain point, you would think that, everybody just gets tired of the guy who says all the right things but never produces. And that's literally been him for a year and a half now.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
it could
very well be. But,
I mean, in front of the camera, these guys say all the right things.
Of course.
When it comes to their teammates and whatnot. But you kind of got to wonder what the feelings in the clubhouse are.
They all say the right things, especially guys like Giolito when he says he doesn't want to be traded.
Yeah. I can't imagine that he doesn't want to be traded. He's got to know that he's probably not going to get the payday he's seeking here. So, of course he's going to come out and say that, but it's very difficult for any White Sox fan with half an education to believe that BS, honestly. I don't really know what's going on behind closed doors. We can make assumptions and take some guesses at that stuff. I think we'd probably be at least a little bit, close on some of those assumptions. But again, you can't be 100% sure. But it's difficult to imagine clubhouse that is, all sunshine and rainbows
Yeah,
when
100%.
you're, 14 games under 500. It is what it is. Guys aren't producing.
Yep, pretty awful, man. I don't even know at this point. Like like you said, at this point, I don't even know. There's, I know that they're not super far off in the standings, and we've all heard, oh well, they're only a few,
They're like
5.5,
like 8
5.
games back now.
Now they are, yeah. But before we were all hearing, oh, they're only 5 back of first place in the division. Okay, yeah, that's true, but the division leader's 1 game under 500. So,
Right.
it's just absolutely brutal. Whatever, man. What are you gonna do? So one thing that another thing that I wanted to bring up is you had also brought it up, and Grimtall redeems hats off to you. Redeem them churros. All right, well, hold on.
Oh, and here you are with the brand new.
Yeah, see, I bring out the new hyphens hat, and I get a hats off for like the first time in a few weeks. All right, let's see what I get.
Let's see, what do we got over here? Bring out one I haven't worn in a while. Oh, you know what? Let's go with the old classic. Bust out the favorite of everyone here. I know everybody loves 3 uni, so go ahead and throw that guy on. It's still 4th of July week. It's red, white, and blue. It's very patriotic, so we'll hit you with that one. Let's see what Ian's got working over here. He's off screen. I can see him. There's movement and motion. Hey, there you go.
This is for Grimtall specifically. Yeah, use up them churros, man. You got them churros. And I got lots of hats. So I brought out the Teresa Earnhardt gonna sue you. Yeah, probably. Probably. But,
Yeah.
got to bring it out every once in a while, even though it is a little bit misshapen. I got to fix that. That's annoying. But, yeah. So one thing I wanted to bring up here, and Grimtall's also brought it up, says Gio's a Dodger this time next month. Rick Hahn made his, homestand presser. And, of course he said, that they're still in it, blah, blah, blah. But to everybody, that's actually trying to read behind the lines and not actually listening to what he's saying, it pretty much sounds to me like he's ready to sell everything off. And by everything, I don't know exactly what I mean by selling everything off. But you have to imagine, obviously Gio is an expiring contract, and he's gone. Almost 100% he's going to end up elsewhere. And I don't see any scenario where he comes back here, because I don't see the White Sox ponying up the money, and I don't see him wanting to come back here, despite the fact that, he may love Chicago, and I know that he loves the fans, but, the problem being is that the fans don't don't come up with the contracts, and I mean, this has always been true for the White Sox, that, they are a fan base that when the team's bad, they don't come out. And it's literally always been this way. And, everybody acts shocked when it happens, but that's the way it's always been, you know? So,
Hmm.
I don't know. I just don't see him coming back.
I don't either. And I'm of the thought of if he's not going to be back, you might as well get something for him while he's still here. Whether it's, anything of real value or not, it's something as opposed to letting him just walk at the end of his contract here at the end of the season. There's no point in holding on to him when we're now, getting coming up into the middle of June here, or I'm sorry, middle of July, and you're sitting, like we said, 14 games under 500. They're on the verge of possibly going 15 games under 500. We're tied here in the bottom of the fifth, and the Sox are threatening with Tim Anderson up at the plate, runners in first and third with nobody out. Sebi got
Hey,
himself
even
a
if he
couple of
grounds
knocks
into a
tonight.
double play, at least if it's to the right side, a run probably still scores.
Right.
But that said, he'll probably pull it right to the shortstop. Who will look the guy at third back and then manage to double him off somehow. Because
Absolutely.
TA will be pissed at himself and he won't run to first base and he'll get doubled off. But
yeah, I just don't see any reason at this point to keep Luke around. I would love for Lucas Giolito to be a part of this team for some more years if the price were right. Unfortunately, I think he's going to probably want to go into the free agent market. Even if the Sox offered him a fair contract, he's probably going to feel like he can, just judging by, free agency the last couple of years, he's probably going to feel like he can test those waters and command a little bit of a payday for himself, even though he hasn't produced up to what we have seen him in the past. So, yeah, there's just no way. There's just no way. I don't see him being part of this organization anymore. As unfortunate as is. So, to be, he's probably the most realistic piece to be sold off. He should be number one
yeah,
on the list.
yeah, that makes sense to me. So another guy that I had on the list of guys that possibly could be on the move, and especially seeing as he has made a resurgence of sorts in the last few weeks, is Lance Lynn.
Yeah.
He has an option for next year, and he is a known innings eater. And yes, obviously started off a little rough this year, and it took him a while to finally get going. But he looks like he's at least rolling to a certain point. I mean, granted, this I don't know what the Blue Jays are doing right now, because the fact that that they have been struggling this badly against the White Sox is actually kind of shocking. I mean, struggling to a point, because even if they're struggling to score runs, they're still winning because the White Sox offense is terrible. But like they've been struggling to score runs, and but Lance Lynn looked pretty stinking good.
Yeah, he one hit him through seven.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it's like every other start he's gonna like one hit, no hit, perfect game them through multiple innings.
Right.
Well, I called that one, didn't I?
Yep, sure did. Rolled over on one, got the double play, but brought in the runner on third. So
Unreal.
Sox take the lead, 2 outs in the bottom of the fifth, 4-3.
And he even hit it to the shortstop, and the shortstop didn't even like attempt to look Zavala back.
Nope, sure didn't.
I mean, I'm not saying, I'm just saying. I would have looked him back and just gotten the out at second and been confident enough that the White Sox still wouldn't score a run.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? You might be right.
I mean, granted,
you probably are right, to be honest with you.
Granted,
you are
Luis Robertson.
Robert.
Yeah. So I mean, there is that, but I mean, he's literally. I mean, you could intentionally walk him,
and right, as like
load the bases.
Out, Timmy does not get credit for the RBI because it was in fact a double play.
Yeah, so terrible.
Can't make 2 outs in an at bat and score an RBI. Unfortunately for Tim. So yeah, but yeah, getting back to the Lance Lynn thing, man. There was speculation a couple weeks ago about when Bob Nightingale came out and made the statements about a handful of veteran players wanting to be traded and not wanting to be part of the White Sox organization anymore. And part of that speculation was that Lance Lynn might have been one of those guys. And I got to tell you, man, since that came out is when we started seeing Lance Lynn get back on track. And then, of course, tonight, as we really creep up on the deadline here over the next, what is it, a couple weeks, uh, he was pitching like he had his bags packed already tonight. He looked like he could not get back into the clubhouse and get on a plane somewhere else faster. It
Yep.
just could not happen fast enough for him. So I don't know, man. There's again just speculation, but it would not shock me if he was one of those guys.
Yeah. So you have roughly about 25 days until the trade deadline.
Sounds about right.
You have Liam Hendricks and Mike Clevenger and now Joe Kelly, all on the injured list. But those are, I'm not saying, I'm just saying, those are the kind of guys that can actually be moved. So, I judge, like seeing how this team is going, I wouldn't be surprised if every single one of those guys was gone.
I wouldn't either. Obviously pending physicals and all that stuff after, like you just mentioned that they're all kind of on the IL. They've been shelved for a little bit. Liam came back for a couple weeks and went right back on the shelf. And I don't know. Let me ask you this because I haven't looked recently, but I think it's got to be less than a week ago now. I was looking and it seemed like there was still no timetable for Liam's return. Is that right?
I have not heard anything about him coming back. He's got a club option for next year for $15 million. Lance Lynn's got a club option for next year for $18 million. Joe Kelly has an option, club option next year for $9.5. So you get rid of, Lance Lynn, Liam Hendricks, and Joe Kelly right there. That's already what 33. That's $42 million off the base salary of next year. So they're down to about 113. What is it? 107 million or something like that. 100 something.
Sounds about right.
Something somewhere 117 million, I think, in that
neighborhood.
area.
We'll go with that.
Oh, tie ball game already. Awesome.
Yeah.
Good night, man.
I mean, I don't know. Shaw didn't exactly look awesome when he came in for Bummer in the last game. And it's only been, about an hour and a half since he pitched last. Hour and a half, 2 hours maybe since he pitched last. And here he is up and at it again, giving up dingers. Lead off.
Yeah, it's been an hour and a half since he pitched last, and it's been 2 years since he pitched well. So,
yeah. Oy, oy, oy. I tell you, man. Tough. It's really tough sledding watching these guys. Really, really is. But anywho.
Yeah.
I don't want to beat that horse to death. I feel like we do that regularly. But what else do we have to talk about?
Well, I mean, who is there? Is there anybody else that you're, like you put? I would imagine that you would be willing to trade TA. There's not really a whole lot holding you back. Plus, he's got a, assuming that he has a bounce back year next year, which if he went anywhere else, he'd probably be halfway decent. I just, with how the clubhouse has got to be just like a mausoleum,
Yeah, and he's an energy guy. So you got to think that he's feeding off of the energy around him. When things are going well, I'm sure he amps up that energy, that good feeling. He's that spark, that igniter they talk about. But when things are down, I'm sure he's kind of the guy that's going to help drag that energy down a little bit too. He's just one of those. He's a catalyst, I guess. Like you say, when the Sox are going good, he's going good. When he's going bad, the Sox are going bad. It just makes me feel like that it's not just him and his play on the field, but it's his energy as well. And I think yeah, maybe if he gets into a place where it's a little bit more of a positive outlook, that he could be that spark for someone else and he could get going again. So I definitely would take offers. I would listen to whatever they put out there. Obviously you hope that you can get the best return for him, but the way this season's going right now, you might not. We're not talking about trading high and selling high and getting high return. This is, over the last 4 seasons, this is the low point for Tim. So the return's probably going to be a little bit lower than what it would have been if we had traded him, say, last year's deadline.
Yeah, 100%. Like you're literally looking at like 150% less than you would have gotten last year. You're going to get like
So
you're going to
yeah,
have to pay them to take him at this point, and that's even with a team friendly option for next year. Not really, but you know what I'm getting at. It's
right.
been bad.
And you hope that you get something in return. You hope there's a team out there that sees the potential and the value. Uh, and like I said, when you take these offers, you got to take them. As a GM, you have to listen to everything, right? I mean, there isn't anybody that you're not really listening to. Now, there might be a handful of guys, i.e., Luis Robert, where teams might be making them call on him, and I'm going to listen to what they've got to say, but you're going to have to offer me the keys to the castle.
Oh, it's going to have
To
to be
keep this
something ridiculous. Like
guy. Right.
Jackson Holiday, uh, plus like Gunnar Henderson. Like two guys. That to get Luis Robert. The guy's got the possibility of like MVP type numbers, and the guy's at 25
Yeah,
home
and
runs right
even
now. He's looking at 40 plus home runs if he keeps this pace up. And he's hitting like 275, 280,
yeah,
and that's even with like extended cold streaks that he's doing that.
right. But again, when that offer comes in, and let's just say you do get the Jackson Holiday plus, you still got to kind of look at those and go, well, all right, we're looking at prospects who haven't made their way up to the major leagues yet. And, the old saying, prospects are suspects. So we don't know if any of these guys are going to produce. We've seen it many times before where a guy is number one on the prospect list. And yeah, he might be a fairly decent ball player, but he's not the superstar that everybody claimed he could be. Now, Jackson Holiday might be the exception to that rule. That guy is pretty stinking good.
Yeah, I saw. Did you
But
happen to catch that mock trade that made its way online the other day on Twitter?
about a week ago,
Yeah, it's like
yeah,
Jackson Holiday for Dylan Cease and Lucas Giolito, and like I'm sitting here thinking to
and
myself,
half the
I'm like,
I take it.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely, take him.
This is shortstop of the future right there.
I mean,
Somebody better start teaching Colson Montgomery how to play second base.
you have those two guys, you know, yeah, plus Robert, those two guys plus Robert, yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think probably Graveman's probably going to be available. I think like a bunch of those guys are probably a bunch of those
Be
bullpen
available,
guys.
but I don't know what he nets you.
I mean, he's
You
a
get,
he's a pretty fairly decent, reliable bullpen arm. I mean, granted, he's not like a lockdown guy, but he never really has been, except for when he was in Seattle in that giant stadium. So I imagine that he'd probably get you something halfway decent. I think Joe Kelly would get you something halfway decent. I mean, they have things that that they can sell off. I just
they
don't.
do. They absolutely do.
and I don't foresee, Rick Hahn being delusional enough to think that this team has any kind of future whatsoever with this, I mean, with the very bare core of this team of Aloy, Luis Robert, and
Andrew
Vaughn, I
Vaughn.
guess. You know, um, you know, with
You have been attendee for the next couple of years.
yeah, with that
So
kind of core, maybe with a little bit more experience for Colas and letting this team kind of marinate a little bit and matriculate a little bit of talent from the farm up with some guys who have some energy and are rearing to go and some desire to do things. Not that these other guys necessarily don't have the desire, but I mean, I don't see it.
no, I don't either. A lot of them went through the tough times of the rebuild. A lot of them went through the high expectations and are now feeling the lows of not meeting those expectations. I would imagine that maybe it's time, even if these guys go on somewhere else and produce and go, it's going to get, especially White Sox Twitter, but it's going to get White Sox fans in general kind of up in arms like, oh, Jesus, look at him now. He's over, let's say Lucas Giolito is a Dodger and all of a sudden he's pitching his brains out, and then you get a couple other guys that go and produce somewhere else. And Sox fans, of course, are gonna eat that up. Oh, why can't the Sox develop and why can't we get the talent? But you got to think, like we said, those energy levels in the clubhouse have, these guys have been through a lot and they've had a lot of weight on their shoulders, and maybe just getting away from that might help a handful of them. And like you said, this team probably just needs a little bit of reinvention. I think there's just some bad energy and some bad juju,
Yep.
kind of hanging over the ball club right now.
Yeah, it definitely seems that way. It seems like, if they don't, retool to a point, um, I just I don't I don't see how this team ever does anything um worthwhile with this team. I mean, just they genuinely just do not seem to be having fun at all.
No,
And don't seem to be enjoying themselves at all. And when you have that going on with an entire, like basically with an entire team, no matter what you do, it's not going to repair itself to the point where it's actually going to work and be fruitful.
right.
It's
Well,
just ugly.
I hate to do this, but I still have to go back. I feel like the Tony La Russa hire was the kind of straw that broke the camel's back around here. I mean, we had a team the last two seasons, before Pedro took over, that was told not to hustle because they were worried about injury. A team who wasn't taught winning baseball because they were worried about injuries. We were giving guys days off left and right because of, hangnails and everything else. It was,
Ridiculous.
I mean, the 55 or 58 or so different lineups, unique lineups to start, the first 60 games of the season last year. Uh, all of that stuff just, you want to talk about taking the wind out of somebody's sails. That'll do it. And I don't know that these guys can recover. It's going to create a bad attitude. Whether or not these guys are showing it on the surface, uh, you know, again, I hate to keep using the same word, but that energy kind of translates, and it's difficult to get that energy back up. Pedro Grafal had a almost insurmountable hill to climb after those kinds of things. And, he's talked about instilling, you know, new work ethic and mindset. But, again, we're talking about years and years of not playing winning baseball and not being coached to play winning baseball. And it's got to be a difficult thing to overcome.
Yeah. 100%. I just want to bring this up real quick. I tweeted this out yesterday, and speaking of people complaining about prospects and whatever, and prospects being suspects, the White Sox traded and got Blake Rutherford several years back. You may remember from the Yankees. I believe it was part of the Todd Frazier trade. I'd have to go back and look, but I'm almost positive it was a Todd Frazier trade. But they got Blake Rutherford. He was here for, or maybe it was Canely. I don't know. I can't remember. But it was one of those trades to the Yankees. But Blake Rutherford was here. He underachieved for many moons. He wasn't particularly bad. He just wasn't particularly good either. And, he was one of the top prospects in the Yankees farm system at the time. And, he was supposed to, quote unquote, develop into some power, and it just never came. And, at Charlotte, which has got the, I think the best park factor in the International League, AAA. You would think that he would just run into some because it's known for being an offensive park and for producing power numbers. I mean, look at somebody like Victor Reyes. He's got 16 home runs this year, halfway through the season. Dude's hitting .313 with like a .360 BABIP, and that if he comes up and plays for the White Sox, not having that ridiculous park factor. That you're probably looking at, a guy who, just like when he was with the Tigers, he's probably going to hit 260 with like 5 home runs and then a bunch of doubles. Because in Charlotte, a guy like that normally would hit doubles, in Charlotte, some of those doubles are going to be home runs.
Right.
So, but anywho, here's the Blake Rutherford stats for this season with the Washington Nationals AA and AAA clubs.
Yeah.
1022 OPS, 11 home runs, 39 RBIs. I want to say that he's only got like 14 games or something in AAA. And he started the season late, injured, I believe. So, it's a little bit shorter of a season, but
yeah. I don't think anybody saw, 16 ding or whatever it is, however many dingers he's got right now on the sea. I don't think anybody saw that coming.
11. But, I mean, even still, 1022 OPS.
We were saying it, yeah. It's 1022 OPS with 11 dingers, and a bunch of them have come, as of late, recently, just in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, he's got like 5 home runs in AAA in 14 games or something. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's something that you never saw with the White Sox organization. Never saw a hot streak like that out of him, ever. I mean, you figure in Charlotte that he would at least run into like 20 home runs or something like that. He didn't, And a lot of people complain about the White Sox developmental, program, which, okay, fine. Like, I get that. I get why you would be, upset about that. Yeah, he's still only 26 because he came out, came out real young. So, but I at some point, and like we say this with the major league team as well, like when everybody blames the manager, everybody blames the GM, blah blah blah. At some point, the players have to take some blame for not producing. Like you can blame Pedro, you can blame TA, or you can TLR, you can blame Rick Hahn. TA needs to do, he's he needs to step up and put up some numbers, and he hasn't been, and that's on him. And at this point, he's owning it. He's like, I'm not, doing that great, but I'm just working on it. Fine, but don't you can post cryptic, stupid crap on your Instagram all you want about, I had to step back to see who's still with me. Well, guess what? Nobody's with you right now, dude. Okay? You're batting 225, and you've got like a 35% strikeout rate, and you're not hitting.
Like one dinger in the last year.
Plus playing bad defense. Literally nobody is with you. So, oh yeah, well, I know you're blaming the players, Grimtall. That was never in question.
No,
yeah.
and I blame the players too. I'm just saying that when I bring up, the Tony La Russas and the coaching staffs and player development and all this stuff, it's more of a, setting a tone for these guys.
Yeah.
Keeping these guys accountable, which we know was not the case the last couple of seasons under Tony's tutelage, because it was made if there was any tutelage.
Tony's tutelage.
It was made very, very clear that we're not going to force them to run out the close play because we don't want them to get hurt. They were so snake bitten with the injuries, especially the leg injuries. And a bunch of those leg injuries came on, legging out infield grounders to first base. So, there's a part of me that says, okay, I get it. But, there's another part of me that says these are, multi-million-dollar professionals players. And you have got to get these guys moving. You got to teach them how to win. And if you're going to give them the opportunity to take this time off and take these plays off and still make the same amount of money and give guys, 2 days off a week and traipse Leury Garcia out there in 8 different positions, 6 games a week, something is wrong.
And putting him in the 3 spot and the 1 spot,
Right. You can't do that. So, I mean, yes, I do blame the players for not stepping up. You can take everything I just said about all, the coaching staff telling these guys to do or not do certain things. But at the same time, we're also talking about guys who are all still fairly young and are coming up on their big contract, their opportunity to make those, the big dollars and walk away with that bag. And you're not going to walk away with that bag when you're not producing. So regardless of what your coaching staff is telling you, you got to go out there and do something. So man up, forget about the, if you feel like it's a bad environment or not, you've got to if you're not doing it for the team, do it for yourself.
Yeah, you would think.
Can be contagious. But,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the me first thing can certainly become contagious, and it looks like it probably has. Just saying. So the other thing that I was thinking about, yes. That's fun. Yeah, I'll have to. Yeah, I'm not gonna put that up, but that is funny. Yeah, so I just wanted to, we're coming down to the end here. I didn't want to go for, I mean, really, can you, you spend too much time on these bums, and you're gonna go crazy. So, I just wanted to talk about some of the minor league stuff that's been going on lately, and some of the promotions that have been happening. One really good thing is that Colson Montgomery finally made his way to an affiliate. Hooray! He's playing for the Dash right now. I think he only took like 1 at bat or 2 at bats today because they had a continuation of yesterday's game and then he sat for game 2. But I don't know exactly what his batting average is or his OPS or anything. I haven't even looked, but the at bats look professional, and he got intentionally walked twice. I believe in his second game back from rehab. Like they wouldn't pitch to him. So and admittedly, Wilfred Veras had an absolutely terrible day that day and went 0 for 6 with 3 strikeouts. But regardless, a guy's getting respect around the league and that he's good when he's getting intentionally walked.
And he literally just made his way onto the baseball field for the first
Exactly.
time this year.
Yeah, you know that he's the real deal when something like that happens. He's everything's been a single except for he hit a double into the corner yesterday. But everything's been very hard contact. So, and he's not swinging at garbage. So it looks like very advanced plate approach still, and these guys in advanced age just have no chance against him.
Right.
So
my big thing with him is just seeing him back. I mean, it was a really long, extended layoff for him. And it was one of those injuries where when you first heard about it, you went, "Oh, okay, he'll be gone for a little while," and then it was just like weeks went by, and then a month went by,
10 months.
and then 2 months went.
Yeah.
2 months went by, and you're not really hearing much. They're not really putting anything out there about what's going on and when his expected return date is or anything. And when you do get somebody asks the question, you get the same old rhetoric. Well, he's still working on some things, not 100%. We're taking our time. I don't know how many times I read an article where the rhetoric of we're taking our time with him. We don't want to rush him. We're taking our time. Well, can we get some kind of update? And there really wasn't one. So just to see him back on a baseball field is fantastic stuff.
Yeah. So, I was thinking about this the other day. So with the White Sox parent club, you'll have a guy play injured for 2 months straight before they put him on the IL. In the minor leagues, you can't get an update on whether a guy's, anything about what a guy's doing.
Is he progressing at all?
Exactly.
We don't know.
Exactly. No idea. You have absolutely no idea what's going on with him. And they never hurry him back in the minor leagues. Ever. Like, what is the deal? What is the deal with the different philosophies here? Because 20% of Tim Anderson is horse crap.
Right.
I would much rather see anybody from any one of the orgs play.
You'd rather see 100% of Leury Garcia than 20% of
No,
Tim
I
Anderson?
would not. You can keep him where wherever he's hiding out right now, you can keep him there. But you know what I'm saying? Jose Rodriguez couldn't make a start.
Right, exactly. You brought him up to be a pinch runner. That was ridiculous.
And that was when TA was injured and they weren't playing him.
Right.
What do we need to see from Elvis Andrus? Like, what are we?
Nothing that we haven't already seen at this point.
And so here's the fear, right? Is that you bring in Jose Rodriguez and you give him 10 at-bats and he only gets 2 hits in those 10 at-bats and they're both singles. Then he's Elvis Andrus with better defense and more speed. So why do we insist on playing Elvis Andrus? I understand that you had to bring him up because Lenyn Sosa was injured and he's on the 40-man. I don't care. There's literally...
He could have played every day.
There's zero reason to play Elvis Andrus at this point. If you're delusional enough to think that because you're 6 games back of the division leader in a horse crap division, and despite all of the evidence that has piled up for a solid year and a half that this team is crap and is never going to do anything or go on any kind of run whatsoever, that you can't play Jose Rodriguez over Elvis Andrus? Like, come on, man.
Yeah,
like, give me a break.
Elvis Andrus was going to be the difference maker to get you over that hump. And
that's exactly
the top of the AL Central standings.
Yeah. Elvis.
That's the guy.
Well, see the thing, Elvis Andrus, he's going to go on a heater, and he's going to be the backbone of what's going to establish this winning culture. The veteran leadership of Elvis Andrus is what's going to put this team over the top and get them to 500 again, so they can be anywhere close to the division lead. I mean, like what are we even doing here, guys?
Come on, man.
Seriously, it's just.
Yeah, you know, you can call me and Ian armchair GMs, but I mean, kind of hard to argue with that. You know, you're making too much sense, Ian. Stop it.
I
You
mean,
know, the White Sox brass is playing chess. The rest of us are all playing checkers.
they're playing chess and we're playing tackle checkers. Um, yeah. So Terrell Tatum has been. He's got like 1,000 OPS in Birmingham so far. Granted, only like a week and a half or whatever, but still, 2 home runs in a week and a half. He's got like a 450 on base percentage or something like that. That's good. Tim Elko, he had RBI tonight. He's hitting like 275 in advanced day, and you love to see that. Jacob Burke keeps on. I should check and see. Let me look at the game tonight. 3 for 4 in game 2 of their doubleheader. So he is now at 43 games.
That's kind
on
of
base.
all right.
Yeah, so he's got 7 to tie Colson Montgomery. And, Colson Montgomery was a number 1 pick for the White Sox, so everybody made a huge deal out of it. Dude's at 43 games, 7 away from Colson Montgomery with a 1,062 OPS and hitting 424 in advanced day.
Yeah.
Nary a peep other than from the dash and, like a few select people on the socials. But
yeah. Now, do you think that's because, he's a little bit older and people expected him to be maybe a little bit further along if he hadn't gotten injured? Obviously, the injury is what set him back. Let's not make any mistake about that. It's the reason that he's, a year or two ahead age-wise than the level that he's at. But I mean, come on, the guy is, regardless.
I mean, he's only 22.
Regardless, he's on a tear.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say that he's at average age or even a year younger than average age for advanced day, I think.
Yeah, probably. You're probably right.
So
maybe it's just that he's been around for a little bit and people expect it. I don't
well,
know.
I mean, he did the college
Expectations were
thing,
high.
so but I mean, yeah, he's been. Oscar Colas just like almost corkscrewed himself into the ground, Javi Baez style there. Holy crap!
Yeah, trying to take things into his own hands here.
Tame
The
that
White
swing
Sox are
down, dude.
1 at the bottom of the 7th.
Trying to hit a 4-run home run with nobody on base. A 5-run home run.
Oh, and now he's shaking his hand.
Yeah, because that was a terrible swing.
At least it was his top hand. I was just thinking, please don't. When I see guys shake their hands, I immediately.
Yeah.
Yep. Mike Trout down now, out 6 to 8 weeks with a hamate minimum. Wow. Well, he hacked it.
Man. That was a good pitch.
The first pitch
still.
that he hacked at wasn't bad. I mean, it had a part of the plate. The next 2 swings, not so much. Neither one of those pitches.
Well, I mean, to be fair, that thing did run in and down on him. So, I get it, but
yeah, it really didn't look like it was in the zone.
Yeah,
he's that was one of those bats where he was pushing a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it looked like he was trying to hit it to hit it to Gary, Indiana or something. Is that in the right direction? I'm trying to think here.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I guess it would be more like Grand Rapids, Michigan, I guess is where he was trying to hit it to. But regardless, yeah, so I mean, there's been some some positive stuff going on in the minors, and there's been movement. Finally, I mean, it took them a while to finally move Elko and Burke and Tatum up. They probably deserved it earlier than they got it, but I kind of, Burke started off injured, and then Elko, I don't know if they were looking at his K percentage or what, that maybe they wanted to get him a little extra time to see if that K percentage was going to perhaps change things. And turns out it didn't. He was still hitting home runs. He did go on he did have like a cold streak for a couple of weeks. I think he didn't hit a home run for like 2.5 weeks or something like that. Um,
Sounds about right.
but I mean, he was still hitting singles, and he wasn't getting. It's not like he was having, mountains of offers. He was still looking all right. So, um, that that was a get sent down AB right there. I don't think so.
No, I think Oscar is going to be around for a while this time.
I think they have to, because you saw him. You saw him over the last couple of weeks in Charlotte. What's he going to do down there that's going to change anything for him?
Yeah, right.
I
He's
can't
not
really
really
see.
learning anything. He's not developing any further. He needs to face that MLB pitching. And if he struggles with a little bit right now, fine. It's completely fine.
It's
He's
understandable.
not gonna yeah, he's not gonna make any more progress facing, quad A and triple A guys down there. He needs to face that MLB pitching and get used to the game speed
Yeah, I think
at the
that
MLB
he
level.
his like actually AAA Jeff asked the guys Cam Seitzer down in Charlotte about what they did with Oscar Colas and what kind of gave them the go ahead to finally send him back. And he asked about the O swing percentage, and he didn't get a number from him, but I did look it up, and from what it looks like is that his O swing percentage, was better by like 10% or something, in Charlotte. Now, I did answer a question from somebody that asked me, like do you think Oscar's going to be better? And I was like, well, I mean, ultimately, who knows? I mean, he's been doing that in AAA. Now, is it that the pitchers in major leagues have that much better of stuff than the guys in AAA that is influencing him to not swing at such bad pitches? I don't know. Or is it, that he's just, figured out what he's looking for and now he's not swinging at it, which, after seeing some of his at bats since he's come up, still looks like Oscar Colas. Still looks like he's got some wild swing and miss tendencies, and that's going to
Yeah,
be
he's got a
something
little
that
bit of a
he's going to have to work through it at a
yeah,
major
and
league
this
level.
is not like this isn't normal for him. I mean, like you said, up until recently, where we saw that 10%, kick in the right direction, it's kind of been his calling card. He's got some chase in his approach. It's just like when Luis Robert was down at the lower levels. Luis Robert, his first two seasons up at the major league level, and including the first
This
half of
year,
this, right? He's got some chase in his game.
yeah,
Uh, I'm okay with a little bit of chase. There's nothing wrong with being aggressive, especially in a team who is offensively anemic. But part of the reason that they're anemic is because the entire team has got a ton of chase. And, you guys, the rest of you guys aren't hitting 25 dingers before the break. He gets a little bit of a pass, and I'm not giving him too much of a pass because he can swing at some really awful pitches.
yes, he can.
Awful, absolutely awful pitches. And that's an organizational uh, shift that needs to be made across the entire board. Somebody's got to, get these guys dialed in a little bit better. But again, he's got 50 RBIs and 25 dingers at the break. Puts him up in Jose Abreu and Jim Thome, you know, category, Paul Canerico category type numbers. So not gonna be too mad at the guy.
Still managing to drive in 50 runs before the All Star break on this team.
Right,
On this
right. That
team.
means that means he's actually hitting with guys on base. Where as the rest of the team, we've talked about this over and over again. Uh, Leaves a lot of runners on. So you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, so I think we call it here for the week.
Yeah. Hey, Grim. Well, you have a good night. We'll talk at you later too, bud.
Oh, is he out? All right, man.
Seems that way.
Yeah, you have a good night. I'm gonna go be a gamer. All right, do that.
Yeah, go do that.
I'm gonna sit here and watch the White Sox be mediocre at almost everything and hopefully good at one thing, scoring runs. Hopefully, but I will be clipping up some minor league highlights as well.
I'll be on the lookout for those.
Yeah. Next week, we'll get back to a more of a normal schedule. Just between 4th of July this week and just our schedules, the way things have worked out, it ended up pushing us back to Thursday night. For those of you that came and hung out in the Twitch room, I appreciate you. We appreciate you. Thank you for supporting us. Yeah, and so at Daily White Sox on Twitter. White Sox Daily. You can search us on YouTube and on Facebook. WhiteSoxDaily.substack.com. There are written articles there and all these podcasts. Thanks, Pusher. Have a great night. You can find all of our podcasts, and you can find all these streams on YouTube and wherever, in podcast form, anywhere you get your podcasts. My name is Ian Estridge. For my co-host, the Danny Miller, you guys have a great night, and we will see you guys next week. Thanks.